Yo, 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 it's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, and every now and again we do this. Every once in a while, every now and again, we have the Sports Plus Life talking ish session. Sometimes it could be better than the damn episode, but you know what? It is what it is. Let's do it. And you know I got my dog with me, got my dog Tony with me, and there's a couple of things that we are going to get into. What up, bro? What up, bro?
Yo, what's going on?
Ain't nothing much. Ain't nothing much. Been a lot going on, particularly over this last weekend with sports. We got things with Scottie Pippen, um, which which I find amusing. But before I get into Scottie Pippen and also your take on the sentencing with Derek Chauvin, I want to get into last night's game in the conference finals as the Clippers were down 3-1. I said this on the show yesterday that I thought the Clippers would win game five, and I thought they would win game six, and I believe the series was going seven. Well, they proved me right last night as Paul George had a Herculean effort, well, not just him, Reggie Jackson as
Marcus
well.
Morris.
Reggie Jackson as well, Marcus Morris Sr., and but one thing that everybody was dogging Paul George out about was particularly his efficiency because he's averaging 28 points, but they're saying he hasn't been efficient. And last night he was 15 for 20 and put up 41 points. So what do you think? What do you think the outcome of this series is going to be?
Honestly, I think it before last night's game, it was something like 85% or 88% chance the Suns were going to win, and now it's down to 50 something percent that Suns are going to win that series. The Clippers have some dogs. They have players with that dog mentality. If you got that, you're never out of a series. I do. I predict Clips in seven.
You think the Clippers are going to win in seven?
Yeah, because the Clips actually should be up in the series. If it wasn't for a couple of miscues, the Clips would be up, and they'd be on the closing out side.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. Like I said before, we got on wax. I said if I'm a Clipper fan, I'm thinking, how the hell are we not headed to the finals? Because really, the only game where I saw them outplayed was really game one. You know, the two missed free throws, you give away game two, you win game three, and then this is what killed me. This is what killed me about game four and game five, right? You remember in game four, it was 71-70 for like half of the damn fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
And and then so the Clippers give that game away. I am screaming at the TV. You're down by 1 point and you don't have one player that you can post up and do a back to the basket move. Of course you do, but you didn't do it. And then as game five started, what's the first thing they do? Have Marcus Morris with his back to the basket against Devin Booker, and it was money all night. Every time DeMarcus Cousins was in the game, back to the basket, they couldn't stop it. I mean, I was like, why didn't you do this in game four? You win game four if you make about two more shots. Literally. Literally.
Because that's a lost art.
Yes, that's,
Like
yes.
literally,
Yeah.
it's not. That's like third, fourth option down the line in the playbook now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't
and
do
that's what I was saying. I was like, this is the NBA now. Like, literally, you don't, you're down by 1 point, and you're down by 1 point for about 5 minutes. Not exaggerating, for about 5 minutes. And you're just jacking up threes, or taking, because they were taking bad shots when they were down by one. And I'm like, yo, put Zubats, whatever. Put him in the hole. Now, on the other end for Phoenix, I could say the same thing. Why the hell are you not putting DeAndre Ayton in the box? And see, I know that's a lost art, but Chris Paul should know better. Like,
they don't think about that. They're with the Phoenix Suns. First of all, they're rip and run, more high paced team. But from the Clippers standpoint, you're right. I think a lot of teams they don't grasp the back to the basket. Does several things. You know, you get you a high percentage shot, potentially get you your guy in foul trouble, and it slows the pace too.
and not only that, when you're successful, because Marcus Morris was successful right off the bat with back to the basket. So when he got it about the third, after he made about three straight, when he got it the fourth time, then they had to double him, which left a wide open 3-point shooter. And I'm like, that's like basketball 101. You know, like, What did you wait? What did you wait so long for? Because I believe that even without Kawhi, that I think they're little. I think that they're better. I think they're better than the Phoenix Suns. Now I've said that Devin Booker is low key my new favorite player, but God, I love Patrick Beverly because he ever since they.
I did say dog, right?
Yes, I mean,
He's a dog.
I mean,
And the good thing, I mean, the good thing is, see, I don't. For anybody that's watching the NBA this postseason, yeah, the ratings are down, but this is a glimpse, because it's not really. They still on some BS, but this is a glimpse how the NBA used to be in terms of physicality and letting them play.
yeah.
Defense it's fun to watch good defenders, just as it's good to watch fun offensive players too now.
Right, when the conference finals started, I with all four teams, I said the four teams that are in the conference finals have all at some point in time during these playoffs have all been written off. Remember, nobody gave Phoenix a chance against the Lakers because the Lakers were somewhat they were somewhat healthy when they came in. We know LeBron and AD had their bumps and bruises, but they had won 5 straight, won the play-in game. And Phoenix had, nobody gave them a shot against the Lakers. Remember, I think after game 2 against the Mavericks, remember, the Clippers were done. And that's what everybody's saying. The Clippers were finished. They're probably going to get swept. Ballmer's going to blow up the team, yada, yada, yada. And then with the Hawks, I mean, we knew the Hawks. We loved the Knicks story, but we knew the Hawks were better than the Knicks. They weren't supposed to beat Philly, though. And then of course, Milwaukee, it's not their fault that Kyrie Irving got hurt, but I mean, they really weren't given much of a chance, even though that was the marquee series in the second round of the playoffs, them versus Brooklyn, and shit happens. But then with the Clippers, again, like the Clippers have been the most resilient team in the playoffs. And it's not even close because they fell down to Dallas 2-0. They were supposed to get swept. It was over. Then they fall down 2-0 to Utah. Nobody's writing them off because of what they had did the previous round. Then Kawhi gets hurt. Then they don't have a chance without Kawhi Leonard. They don't have a chance. Is it playoff P or pandemic P or polyester P or playoff P stain or, and then you see Reggie Jackson puts up 20 in one game. Yeah, well, that's good, but he can't do that on a nightly basis. Reggie Jackson is playing himself to $100 million contract.
Pretty much.
Because this is a contract year, and he is playing himself to a $100 million contract. And the reason why they got Rajon Rondo was because they didn't believe that Reggie Jackson was point guard enough to, for the key clutch situations. Rondo has not been a factor in the playoffs. He didn't play last night. He didn't play at all last night. And I said this during the trade deadline. I said, okay, the word is the Clippers need a point guard, and I said this. You can go back and look. I said they have a point guard. They just don't play him like that. I said Reggie Jackson can actually play, and now it's going to be interesting in the offseason because let's say the Clippers win the championship. Let's say they win the title without Kawhi Leonard because I don't think he's coming back. You're starting to see deja vu of the issues he had with the Spurs when he was hurt a couple years ago. Let's just say the Clippers win the title. Then you kind of looking at Kawhi like, let's say they. Oh, let me backtrack a bit. Let's say they get to the finals, right? You get to the finals without Kawhi Leonard, and he's gonna waive his option. He's gonna become a free agent again. But if you're Ballmer, you're saying, okay, look, we got everything that you need. We got to the finals without you, pretty much. We got to the finals from the second round on without you. So everything that you need is here. We just need you to be available. Now, if they win the title, now you're like, what do I need to pay you a max contract for when you want to sit out for a quarter of the season and we just won the title without you? Yeah. That money might go to Reggie Jackson. And the fact that Paul George revealed that him and Reggie Jackson are like besties. They used to live together and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I mean, the better, like, the more the Clippers win, the more it elevates Paul George, the more it elevates Reggie Jackson, the more it elevates Ty Lue. And the more I actually think it devalues Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I would have to agree. I, yeah. Can we say sign and trade with Kawhi? He ain't gonna agree to that.
Possibly.
He wants to stay where he is. Uh, so where would he go? Who would trade for him? You know, and what would they give up?
Well, somebody would trade for him because he is a top 5 player in the league, but the problem is he's brittle. He Kawhi Leonard, if the NBA was a 61 game season, he'd be right there. He'd be all in. But he's I don't know, I mean he's almost too quiet for comfort.
Yeah, I have to agree. At this point, Kawhi is prima donna. Like he is prima donna.
Yeah. Cuz like I said, I mean, if the Clippers get to the finals, you're already going to be looking at him with a side eye. Lord help Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis if the Clippers win the title and he's not in uniform. I mean, because now they played what? They played about 7 games without him. They have a rhythm now. They're accustomed. They're now pretty used to playing without him. That's why you go out and you get all of that depth. I think they should play DeMarcus Cousins more, but I do understand Ty Lue playing chess with these matchups right now.
But one thing's for certain, I don't know that people actually across the board were questioning it. But now, when you look back, 2020 hindsight, what Pop said in terms of Kawhi not being a leader, he might be right. Like he might be right.
Yeah, he might be right. I mean, I get all of the lead by example, not by word stuff, but I mean, I'm just more or less. I guess I'm kind of irritated with the fact that okay, when he first got hurt, they said he would at least miss 5 games. Okay, it's been 5 games. If he ain't coming back, just say it. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to play some gamesmanship with the Suns to say, well, you might have to prepare for him. If he ain't coming back, just say he's not coming back. And now the stories are coming out that he's unhappy with the Clippers training staff. I'm like, come on now. I mean, either you're gonna play or you're not gonna play. Now, if it's something that could possibly lead to, now I think that you have to look at the Kevin Durant situation 2 years ago, where if it's something with your knee and you're trying to, you feel obligated to play, you don't want to rupture an Achilles and then be out for a whole nother year. If that's the case, cool. If that's the case, then just shut it down. But let's not go through all of the drama and he may play, he might not play, he may play because, I mean, the Clippers they're down in the series 3-2, but I mean, I'm not going to deviate from my pick. I called them to go to the finals at the beginning of the season. So I'm with you, and I have to be with you. When you say Clippers in 7, I have to be because that's who I picked. But, I mean, Kawhi needs to come out and say something, and there lies the problem because he don't talk.
Yeah, that's two teams and two situations where his family members are doing more talking than he is. It's the training staff. Was it going to be the Clippers doctor next? Because your doctor, your personal expert, said such and such. Prima donna status at this point, for real, for real.
Yeah.
I just and then the team that would be interested in trading for him, the question automatically is he worth the headache? Is he worth the 50 games that he may play for you?
Right. Right.
Through the season.
I mean, now, make no mistake about it. Somebody would trade for him. Somebody would. Even, I mean, hell, you could trade him for Ben Simmons. I think both teams would. I think both organizations would take that. Honestly, because you have enough offense with the Clippers, you have enough offense where you'd really be trading defense for defense.
You're the team that actually makes more sense and has assets to move now with them being lucky in the damn lottery. Golden State.
I was thinking about that. And word just came out today that they're gonna try to get another star, and they didn't say who. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Ben Simmons that they were talking about. Well, the only thing about that is that they're talking about trading James Wiseman and one of those top picks. You don't need Wiseman if you're Philly because you got Embiid, but yeah, I could see Ben Simmons going to Golden State. I could definitely
It's
see that.
possible. For what? What is Golden State giving up? Wiseman, the 7 pick,
Yeah.
the 14 pick.
Uh huh.
What are they? What is Ben Simmons' value actually now?
It's not very high right now. I mean, you're talking about a guy who wants to be a point guard but doesn't want to shoot.
Exactly.
Like, that's an oxymoron. I mean, goodness gracious. I think he just needs to be a power forward. If he's not going to shoot, I mean, not even so much as a foul line jumper, then he just needs to be listed as a power forward.
Did you hear that they are talking about bringing in a trainer to work with him about his shooting to switch hands, no less? And I'm like, you're starting over from ground zero. I can't remember the player that had the shooting. I think didn't Boston draft this kid?
No,
Trade him to
Markel. It was with Philly actually. Markel Fultz.
It was Fultz.
Yeah,
him.
it was with Philly.
Yeah, had the broken shot.
When I think about that, and Philadelphia has to kick themselves a little bit because you drafted Markel Fultz, number 1, and you could have drafted Jason Tatum.
Right. Exactly.
You could have had Embiid, Simmons, and Tatum on the same damn team, and that would have equaled dynasty, even with Ben Simmons' lack of offense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
then a lot of teams in a redraft, that's talked about every year. Redraft, and a redraft scenario. Yeah, it's a lot of people that would switch up picks. So,
well, as far as the East goes, I'm not going to count the Hawks out. I don't think they're going to win that series. But if Trae Young is if that ankle is really a problem, I think that's game, set, match. Do you think let's say say the Bucks get to the finals. Do you think that they beat either LA or Phoenix?
I think they could beat Phoenix. The Clippers, I don't think so. I don't. Provided I don't think so. Even as the Clippers are currently constructed without Kawhi, I think it's rough. But definitely with Kawhi, because that neutralizes Giannis and Middleton. Actually, you got 2 guys that can guard both of them, and then after that, it's just peripheral guys who got the strongest peripheral. And Clippers have shown they got the dogs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So they were built that way, and it's showing that they were built that way. So if it came down to the peripheral guys, the Brook Lopez's and all that versus what the Clippers have to offer, I'm taking the Clippers all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe. Matter of fact, I think they would have home court. Even though I know Milwaukee's a 3 and the Clippers are 4, I think the Clippers had a game better record than them. So I think the finals would start in Los Angeles. Now, you're the Chicago Bulls fan. Scottie Pippen, what say you?
I say Scottie is trying to sell books. And what's the best way to sell a book? Create controversy. Scottie Pippen is now Wendy Williams. Just say some stuff outside of your face and see if it gets people to tune in to you. And if it does, good publicity, bad publicity, it's all publicity.
Yeah.
And I think that's how Scottie is approaching it, because everybody that saw some of the stuff he said, especially in terms of Phil Jackson being a racist, because he put Tony Kukoc in the game. When Scottie, you had your chance. You had your chance. And even if you and I think Phil genuinely treated you as though you were the man when Mike was gone. But Mike deferred on some game-winning shots as a decoy. So that's part of your job. Be a decoy to get somebody else's shot. So, it is what it is.
Well, I think the whole notion of the Tony Kukoc shot, I think he was reaching on that because I remember the game. I was only 10 years old, but I remember the possession before Scottie Pippen took the shot and it hit the top of the backboard. And then Patrick Ewing comes down and ties the game. So Phil Jackson did a smart. He just made a smart coaching move. Scottie Pippen should not have pouted the way he did, but and I get that he's trying to sell books. I understand he's trying to sell books. He's trying to sell whiskey too. You know, he had a new bourbon that just came out called Digits. Um,
Exactly.
um, but you may agree, you may disagree with me on this. This is Michael Jordan's fault. It is.
Why is it
This
not?
is all Michael Jordan's fault because we know what happened with Scottie Pippen in '94. That when he refused to come into the game. But for the most part, through most of the sports world, that pretty much was damn near forgot about. And then Michael aired it out on his documentary. And what Michael Jordan did is he kind of broke the bro code when he did that. And I tell you why. So I kind of feel, like I said, I know Scottie Pippen is just trying to sell books, but I kind of feel where he's coming from. Now, the racist thing, I wouldn't have used that terminology, but Phil Jackson has said some stuff in the past that would lead you to look at him with a side eye. Be like, really? Remember when he said something about LeBron and the posse and all of that stuff? And he said in 99 about, he said something in regard to the quote was, I don't mean to say that as a single remark towards a certain population in our society, but they have a limitation of their attention span. A lot of it is probably due to too much rap music going into their ears and coming out of their being. Now, if he had said something like that today, everybody would pounce on his ass. Without hesitation. But to say that he's a racist, I'm not going to go that far. But Michael Jordan should not have had that point highlighted about Scottie Pippen in that Knicks game in the '94 season. The reason why is because he wasn't on the team.
Right.
He wasn't. He was not on the team. His ass was in Birmingham, Alabama, swinging a baseball bat. So if you want to say Scottie Pippen quit on the team, well, so did you. So did you, because for whatever reason you retired, and there have been speculations all the way from because his father died, and then he was into it with some bad loan sharks, gambling debts, whatever. I think only Michael Jordan knows the real reason why he retired back in 1993. But you weren't on the team. You weren't on the team. I understand Scottie Pippen's frustration, even though he did have a chance. Like I said, I think Phil Jackson made the correct basketball play. But you're looking at Scottie Pippen now, you have gone through the growing pains. You've been there through the good times and the bad. And, you don't feel like you're getting the respect that you're getting. And plus, you got this guy from Europe who's now making more money than you. And you are a top 5 player at that point in time. You're a top 5 player in the league, not at your position. You're a top 5 player in the league. He won All-Star Game MVP that year. He was second in the MVP voting to Olajuwon that year. And so I can understand his frustration, but Jordan highlighting that and you weren't even on the roster. Like, bro, why you do that? If this is what bearings does this have on a documentary that's supposed to be about our last championship year? You understand what I'm saying? Because that has no bearings on the 1998 Chicago Bulls. Now, you want to call them selfish for not getting surgery until after the season started? Okay, I can understand both sides there. You're trying to win a championship. You should have did that in the offseason. But if I'm Scottie Pippen, you go talking about going to the 98 season. I have been in the league now for over a decade. I'm 32, 33 years old. My body may be starting to break down on me because I've been playing so much basketball 5 out of the last 7 years. You have devalued me. So I am going to enjoy myself and I'm going to get myself right for when my real dollars come, because this may be the only time now that my real dollars come. So I kind of see both sides of it. And everybody knows now, but see now where Scottie Pippen kind of needs to kind of fall back on is the fact that people loved Jordan so much and Jordan was so spectacular. The biggest compliment that Scottie Pippen is going to get and it should be validation, is Michael Jordan saying, hey, I couldn't have done this without Scottie Pippen.
Right.
That's the only thing that's really the only compliment that he's gonna get, and that
Right.
is because one is true, but what I think that Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen need to realize is that you may disagree, you may agree, is that even Jordan and Pippen together weren't winning 6 championships. You're not doing either three-peat without Horace Grant and Dennis Rodman. Jordan and Pippen together were at best a second round, maybe Eastern Conference, title contender. But without Grant, without Rodman, you're not getting 6 rings regardless. Because remember, when Jordan came back from baseball, Kukoc was there, Pippen was there, Harper was there, Horace Grant was on Orlando. And who took them out? Orlando. So they knew they needed that garbage man, that dog, who, if anything, is going to give you defensive and rebounding presence. That was not Tony Kukoc. That's why the first thing they did was get Dennis Rodman during that offseason. So I think both of them really need to take a step back and pay homage to those two brothers. What say you?
Yeah, I agree. I can't argue with that. But yeah, it's and then Scottie got issues going on in his life. I think when his oldest son died.
Was it his oldest son?
I thought it was, and then the ex still doing chicanery and messes with his head. I give Scottie a pass based on that, and to be fair, I don't think Mike cares, like in terms of what Scottie says in a book, because he pretty much knows what we know in terms of that, and for him to if Mike even responded to it, it gives it validation. So it's probably best to just not say anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just wonder how those championship reunions are going to be now, because the 30-year reunion is this year. This is 30 years since they won the first one, and 5 out of the next 7 years they're going to be celebrating 30-year championship reunions. I wonder how those are going to fly, because Jordan has alienated Pippen, clearly. Pippen is coming back and nuking everybody. Horace Grant don't like Michael Jordan. And Dennis Rodman is still Dennis Rodman.
Right. but out of all, the funny thing is though, out of all those people, you know who I gotta believe if they tell a story in terms of that, probably Rodman. Rodman is who I think I would.
I would take everything Rodman said to the bank, because he has nothing to gain or nothing to lose by fabricating the story.
Exactly.
I would take everything Dennis Rodman would say to the bank. And I truly believe, honestly, I would take Horace Grant at his word too. Because Jordan looks like he's an amazing asshole. But I've said this on the show before, when you're that level great, when you are that competitive, you are going to be an asshole. Like, I believe Kobe was an asshole. God rest his soul. I believe Serena Williams is an asshole. I believe Tiger Woods is an asshole. I believe Tom Brady is an asshole. My only issue with Tom Brady, and it's not even really Tom Brady's fault, it's because the media likes him, is that when he's on the sidelines cussing out teammates and cussing out coaches, he gets called passionate and a leader. But if Terrell Owens does the same thing, he's a cancer. That's been my only issue. And that's not even Tom Brady's fault. That's all about the media, because they don't like T.O. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I believe I would take anything Rodman would say about that to the bank, because he was living in his own world.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I said it right, and that's who I believe, because he has no reason, and Rodman has been unfiltered his whole life. So
pretty much,
that is what that is.
Well, at least ever since he left Detroit.
So yeah. But I'm looking forward to. I'm not buying it, but I'm sure I'll get a chance to read excerpts from it, and I'm sure Skip and Shannon will talk about it. And,
Oh, they already have. They
yeah.
already have. Because last week he was on a bunch of shows. He was on Lebatard, Dan Patrick, like more or less promoting his bourbon. And now this week it's the book, and he's just been. I don't know. It's almost like the Kwame Brown effect, except I don't believe anybody was picking on him the way people picked on Kwame Brown. But I really think I don't think there's a book coming out if Michael Jordan doesn't throw that '94 shit in the documentary. And I do think Michael Jordan was wrong for that simply because he wasn't on the team. It had no bearings on the '98 Bulls. But I don't believe that there's a book coming out if that doesn't happen, because a lot of people, there are a lot of people who are diehard sports fans who wasn't even born when that happened. You just know Scottie Pippen as, Robin to Michael Jordan's Batman, an all-time great player, great defender who won 6 championships with Michael Jordan. And now you got that '94 shit like, whoa, he did that? And really, it has no bearings on anything. It don't have no bearing. It had nothing to do with nothing. So that I do think Michael. Yeah, and it changes nothing. I mean,
other than perception.
Right, and I don't think Michael Jordan should have did that. That should have. It wasn't in-house because Scottie Pippen did it during a nationally televised game. But contrary to 2020, when's the last time you heard about that?
Yeah, not at all.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was unnecessary. It really was unnecessary, and I think that was a low blow for Michael Jordan to do that. And like I said, kind of the Kwame Brown effect. You keep on coming at somebody about something, and when they strike back, don't get mad. Because Kwame Brown is killing everybody.
Well, I do believe that Kwame Brown is trying to move on to his next career. He's been Wendy Williams-ish too. Some of what Kwame says is accurate. Some of it is just talking, like it's just lip service. Because you had a very long time, and you had opportunities to get stuff off your chest a lot earlier than what you're doing now. Again, I think that he's on this kind of the same thing that Pippen is on, just to a lesser extent.
Okay. Well, sir. Now I went there. I went there yesterday, and I'm gonna go here today. What did you think about the sentencing of Derek Chauvin?
Well, based upon the sentencing guidelines, everyone expected the judge to lowball, and he didn't. He could have went higher, could have went up to 40. Minnesota law is Minnesota law. People need to understand that they were hoping for life. That never was going to happen. But I don't really know how to feel about it. It's the disappointment, yeah, because I don't think anybody's life is worth that amount of time. I believe a life for a life, essentially.
Right.
Whether you're going to death penalty them or put them in jail for life. But I'm also a proponent. I believe the surviving family, immediate family, should be able to decide instead of juries deciding or a judge deciding what is going to be the sentence. In terms of that. So, but yeah, I just think that for what it was, and what the judge said also, in terms of that, I think is accurate. I think he should. I think he actually should have gotten the max that the judge could have given him based on what the judge said. Look, he's held to a higher standard. He's supposed to be, protect and serve. So by default, when they commit crimes, they should get the high end of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
Yep. And that's why that is why yesterday on the podcast I said that I think that he should never see the light of day again because of the oath that he took and that he violated. And another thing that I also said is that it just kind of goes to show. Now, like you said, Minnesota law is Minnesota law. 22 and a half years, good behavior pretty much knocks it down to 15. Pretty much.
Right.
It just goes to show that protecting black people is still not a priority in this country. I mean, if you're gonna know, we've been looking at this George Floyd Policing Act ever since it happened a year ago, but it constantly somehow gets put on the back burner. But yet we have a immediate law signed about anti-COVID attacking Asians, which I don't have a problem with because I don't think you should be attacking people like that because of COVID, no matter what no matter where you think it came from. But that law was passed very quickly, and I know that was more of an economic thing because we do business with China.
Right.
But again, it goes to show that protecting black people is not a priority because if it was, this was your perfect opportunity. If you really want police reform and if you want to send a message to police across the country, this was your perfect time to send that message with a bang. And I used an example yesterday, and I went deep, but you know what? Damn it. It's sports plus life. That's what I do. Shit. I use an analogy of when we were slaves, and a slave ran away, even though we outnumbered them, when they caught him, they would do something so egregiously evil to them where it put the fear of God in the other slave's heart who would think about running away. I probably could have used a more lighthearted example, but no, this is America. So yes, I'm taking it there. This cop murdered this man. I understand. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. This is just my opinion. He murdered that dude. It was unnecessary. He didn't have to do it. And the fact that he's sworn to protect and serve, clearly he did not do that. And I believe because, like you said, the judge said because of the position you held, you should be held to a higher standard. This is why I think, if not the death penalty, he should be in jail for the rest of his life. Why is he not? Because, like you said, Minnesota law is Minnesota law. But again, protecting black people in this country has not been a priority. The fear of this country is black people rising to power.
I have to agree. It permeates everything. Every political decision, every voting decision, every economic decision, cultural decision, everything we do is scrutinized. You got the young lady Gwen Kelly, I think, that would not participate in the national anthem in the Olympics in protest. And then you have the other young sister, what's her name, Sha'Carri, with the orange hair, track star, who gets criticized because of her looks. Well, I submit, okay, they want the young lady Gwen Kelly removed and banned from the Olympic team because she's not patriotic and she doesn't represent America's values. Okay, well, how about all the African Americans just sit this thing out and see how many medals America brings home? Oh, no, they'll win in the pool. They'll win the swim.
Yeah, right.
But that's about it.
Exactly. Yeah. They'll win the water.
So, and any way you look at it, even if you do that, it's still going to be a black or brown face bringing the medals home, because if America don't win it, Jamaica and Africa is going to win it.
Yep.
So,
yep.
That's it.
Yep.
So, it is what it is. But I'm one of them people that believe everything comes full circle. And I don't want to get too deep into something, but I was talking to my wife about an article in you ever heard of Stormfront?
What is it called?
Stormfront.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's a newsletter published by the Aryan Brotherhood. And there was an article recently, and even they acknowledged the coming of the full circle, and uh, measures to take to try to stem it. The coming of the full circle is the immigrants, the brown faces, the populating, and the rise of interracial situations.
Yeah, that's
And
happening.
the fact that it's basically, and their view is if it continues on this trajectory, that pure blood Caucasians will be basically bred out,
Yeah.
and that it's and that we are purposely doing this. We are purposely doing this. I don't know about that. But the genome is strong, and what they're saying is actually accurate in the sense of, yeah, if it did continue, yeah, they would. We were the original people. It's gonna come full circle.
Yeah.
So
Now let me ask you something. Now this is deep. I was talking about this on Father's Day with my mother, and the three of us, my mom, Kia, we're having a conversation. It was a political based conversation, and because we were talking about Juneteenth, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean Juneteenth is cool and all, federal holiday, yeah, it's a step long overdue, because sometimes like, well, I like, I like Juneteenth, I posted about it, had the DJ wore, a shirt, Juneteenth shirt that was made from that was made from scratch. And you know, we were talking, and it's like I'm not trying to be optimistic, but it's like Juneteenth is almost like a bone thrown at us to kind of block, even though that slavery is like the biggest issue. Um, but it's almost something to block the issues that we are trying to tackle now, like this policing act. And I said something about reparations. I said, the main thing that people know, particularly white America, is that black people should get reparations. And I use the NCAA as an example because of what just happened with them. The NCAA, they have been, for lack of a better term, pimping student athletes, particularly football and basketball players, for decades. $1 billion business, but you don't give your employees nothing. Matter of fact, they could lose their scholarship if they get so much as a pair of sneakers bought for them, which I have always thought is bullshit. And now, I'm not necessarily, I don't necessarily like the way the level of play has gone in the NBA from one and done, so that's another story for another day. I think what's happening with the NCAA deserves to happen, but I use that as an example because I say black people are owed reparations. My mom agreed. She said, but Native Americans should get it first. And initially I agreed until I actually thought about it. Wow, this is no knock against Native Americans because they literally had a country unjustly stolen from them. But they seem to have had an option of, we're taking this land, go, get out of here. Get out of here or die. We're taking this land. There's nothing you can do about it. You either leave or you die. And rightfully so, the Native Americans like, who the hell do you think you are? No, this, we haven't done anything to you. This is our turf, so to speak, and we're going to fight for it. Okay, they lost, right? But they appeared to have an option. I know about the Trail of Tears, and they also have their own government. Black people were not given that option. We were taken from a country, and we were brought to this country and said, work or die. It's that simple.
But we did have options.
Yo, please let me know.
I have to disagree with you.
Okay.
On that. We were not necessarily the helpless victim that in some circles of history we're portrayed as. Black on black crime is a very real thing today because it was a very real thing back then. If you research the history of the transatlantic slave trade, there were basically tribes that were deemed untouchable in Africa. Why were they untouchable? Because they were trading. They were trading with the Europeans. and they were
Okay.
trading some of us. Now, no one forced their hand, and I say this as an African and a Alabama Cherokee. So I see it from the both sides of the fence. Yeah, the transatlantic slave trade in and of itself was an abomination. However, in the case of Africans, the ones that did participate in it, selling your own people out is a worse abomination, because you can't bring enough boats to take a continent. In the case of Africa and North America, you can't bring enough boats to take a continent, bro. So if the Cherokee and the Sioux were on the same page, and the Mandinka and the Zulu were on the same page, guess what? Shaka Zulu proved what would happen and what could happen. But we had some, just as today, we had them step and fetch your Uncle Toms that, will fall for the glittery, shiny thing and sell his brother down the road for it.
And see,
I'm just calling it like it was. You had to get a foothold somehow. You had to get a foothold somehow. It had to start somehow.
right.
And you have had to have an inside man to get it started. And one of those inside men likely was one of us.
And see, that's why I wanted your opinion on it, because that's educating me. I mean, I still feel to a certain degree that, well, at least once we got here, our options was pretty much work or die. But see, you put it on a broader scale, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, even when we got here, they used us to assimilate us.
Yeah.
And so, but again, you can't skip over the origin and jump straight to the story. You got to read the prologue to understand what you're reading, the story that you're reading. So if it has a prologue, well, all stories have a prologue,
right,
to get you started. And that mentality got started over there, and it was carried on over here. And imagine, just think about us as a people and being one of them, and seeing in Africa, on the West Coast in Africa, and you see a face that looks like yours putting you in chains. You understand? That would break you mentally. That would kill you.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Kidnapped by some white faces, people that you don't know. You'll forever fight back against that.
Yeah.
But when you see your own people doing it to you, then it's like, okay, what can I do? You feel defeated. So it's something that's permeated us. They instilled it up in us back then, and they kept it going. And it's still the same way today. They any obstacle, anything they can put us to in front of us to mentally defeat us, that's their tactic. It always has been.
And with you saying that, it actually made me think about something. Me being silly, but it kind of has merit to what you're saying. I don't know if you ever seen the stand-up special by Eddie Griffin, Voodoo Child, and
I have.
Yeah, and when he was talking about, when slaves were, initially brought over, that, you saw some Africans, and he was like, you don't want me. Look at me, cough all the time, got one nut. And Buku over there is big and strong. Me see him pick up a whole oak tree. I help you catch him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what that made me think of, because I mean, while it's funny, but it's pretty much what you just said.
And if I got another challenging thing for you to comprehend. You know how many slave uprisings there were during the transatlantic slave trade? I'd have to say it that way, because it wasn't just confined to North America. We know what happened down there. You know what happened in Haiti, right?
In what?
In Haiti.
No, what happened in Haiti?
Oh, well, some of us came here to pick cotton. Some of us went to the islands and picked sugar cane, right?
Right.
Well, they got sick, and it was the sugar cane was allegedly, and by all accounts, way more harsh than the being in the field picking cotton. And then they got sick of it, and they killed all of the people. They killed them all. They pulled a Nat Turner, and we're gonna be free, and killed all of them.
Oh, okay. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me because one thing that I've always thought about is like, gee whiz, we sure do outnumber them. I mean, like we sure did outnumber them, so it didn't surprise me.
We didn't outnumber them though. No.
Well, not even on a regular, not even on a regular plantation.
Yeah, on a plant, in an individual plantation. Well, I thought you were talking in terms of
No, I was
just
talking.
in general
No,
in
I
the
was talking
country.
about
No.
a individual, like a individual plantation.
Oh, yeah, on the individual plantation, yeah, they could whack the overseer and the plantation owner at any moment. They could have. In the case of Nat Turner, again, if you had
I've
a
seen
group of
that.
people that had that mentality, and he didn't get ultimately betrayed, yeah, they could have caused a lot of damage before the actual military, because that's what it would have taken, a military force
Mm-hmm.
to ultimately take them down. But yeah, yeah. And for the people, that's that. See, that the story of Nat Turner is a prime example of critical race theory. That's a huge thing now. Everyone's talking about it. It's got schools, teachers. I want to teach it. The school systems telling the teachers, if you teach it, you'll be suspended. Politicians don't want it. Other politicians want to, institute it in educational, facilities. Critical race. Think about what it says. Critical race theory. It doesn't apply to us. That terminology doesn't phase us. It bothers them though because it's critical of them, of their race, and they created that whole word. It's a theory. No, it's not a theory. You know what you did. It's been recorded. You know what you did during slavery. You know the
Right.
atrocities that you did, everything that you did, but you don't want to talk about it, and
Right.
you don't want your kids learning about it in school. So that's why you're raging and fighting back against it. You want to
Right.
skip straight from the Pilgrims to, there was some bad people during the civil rights. It was slavery, but they were self sufficient and they were taught to live on their own, and we taught them. Yeah, okay, whatever. Critical
Right.
race theory.
Right.
That's BS, but it is what it is. Nat Turner is a part of what has always been their critical race theory, that he was a savage and he murdered women and children. Oh yeah, he did. They did kill women and they did kill some children. But think about the situation. Did he have a reason to be kumbaya? Could he really leave anybody alive that may tell that who he was, that they were there, that they were free, that they were running? No. And considering the hundreds of years that our people went through, where our women, children were basically treated, do we really? You really gonna try to villainize Nat Turner?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, it is what it is. The true story of Nat Turner would be exactly what I told you, but they would just tell them little white kids he was a man that wanted to be free. His family, this, that, and the other, and they would tell his actual story. And this is what people will do when they're enslaved. They're going to fight.
Yeah.
And lives are going to be lost because lives are already being lost.
Yep. Yep.
So that's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I definitely wanted I wanted your opinion on Derek Chauvin and what I had said yesterday in regards to the whole reparation thing. I definitely thank you for shining light on something that I was not fully aware of. But that's why you my dog, man. You keep me on my toes, bro. And knowledgeable. Knowledgeable. Every time we have one of these conversations and I put it on wax, I always send it to my mother and I send it to my Uncle Tuck. So they can listen. Matter of fact, I got to get you and my Uncle Tuck on the line at the same time one day, because that will just be a wealth of knowledge. Knowledge.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. This is us. This is our history. This is who we are. So yeah, I'm about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oh.
We're not little Nas
Oh my
and
God.
T-Pain. We're not. We're good guy, but we're not Anthony Davis and Giannis.
Yeah.
That's all we are. We either the buffoon on TV or the nigga dribbling the ball, and we're so much more than that.
Definitely.
They wouldn't be who they are without us.
Not
The
exactly.
Greek philosophers and their whole systemic structure came from Kemet, which was Egypt, Africa. They came and got that knowledge and took it back, and then claimed it as their own. So anyway,
What did not Little Nas? What did Big Nas say? He said Africa was almost stripped naked.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff in terms of that that's not discussed. The whole King Leopold episode in Africa, rubber. How many millions of Africans died so that they could have rubber. Millions of Africans died so they could have what? Diamonds. We know the blood diamond
Oh yeah.
trade.
Oh yeah.
So it's always been about rape in Africa, taken from black people, taken from black people, taken from black. And that's what it's always been.
Yeah, man, and it just that's why when I look at things like Juneteenth, where I think it's good, it's overdue, but it's cool, but it's like there's so many black people over here who are just mind fucked, and it's just it's like you said, we're so much better than that. We're so much more than that, and but like you said, what you said, the guy said things are gonna come full circle. Don't know if we'll be alive to see it, but I'll be glad when it happens.
We probably won't see it in our lifetimes, but I think the Aryans are on they're on to something there. Not that I'm advocating Tyrone to go get Becky.
Not Becky. Becky with the good hair.
But maybe the Aryans are on to something, and maybe instead of Shaquetta being your baby mama, you should make Becky your baby mama. Don't go ahead and marry Shaquetta and make Becky your baby mama. How about that? How about we do that?
Yeah, but you know what? If you marry Shaquetta and Becky your baby mama, because Becky is Becky, quote unquote, Becky gonna get that child support.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's a small sacrifice because you're actually achieving two things there. You're helping that Aryan prophecy, along, which is a good thing, benefits us and generationally, and you're also generationally helping because you are manifesting a black family, which is something that we need.
Yeah.
You're perpetuating the black family structure. Nobody care about Becky, your baby mama. After 18 years, you ain't got to talk to her no more. So, and if you get the right Shaquetta, she on board with it. Yeah, go ahead. She understands it's all for the struggle.
Not Shaquetta though.
It's all for the struggle. Yeah. So I'm just gonna like it is. And Malcolm said there could be no black-white unity. There's first black unity.
Yes.
Well, that's why you get Shaquetta on board with the program. Say, baby, I love you. We're gonna get married, but I got to lay this pipe over here. Perpetuate this thing. Yeah, I got to. I got to do it. I got to do it.
I'm fucking weak.
And then what you do, you're perpetuating that Aryan thing, but you're also killing that perpetuation of the white establishment, because somewhere corporate Chad, who has his little daughter Becky, blonde hair, blue-eyed Becky, and she's expected to marry Chad and give old man Chad 2.5 grandchildren. Instead, he got 2.5 not so Caucasian grandchildren.
Not so Caucasian.
Right.
Got a little light-skinned good hairs running around.
Because she been dirty by that black thing, so she gonna have to deal with black men for the rest of her life, which means every child she spit out is probably gonna be what? There you go.
Mixed. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
And which perpetuates that. It wasn't me that said it. It was the Aryans. But they're on to something. We got to make it come full circle somehow. So that's the best way. That's the pacifist, peaceful. I would say non-violent, but sometimes you giving it to Becky, it could get a little, But anyway.
Yeah.
You get to, you never. Hey, look, I don't know about you. I've been there, married, but been there, done it. Every black man at some point has been. Every time I was ever with a Caucasian people, I started hearing them African drums in my head. My ancestors started talking to me. And, 12, 2, 12, 2, 12, 2. It wasn't no Wakanda forever. No, it was the Mangalang forever. You know what I mean? That was it.
I would start hearing the Coming to America theme music.
Exactly. And if it's a Becky and she listen to hip hop music and talk hood,
I know a few of them.
Just leave her where she at. Leave her where she at.
I know a few of them.
Yeah, don't even holler, because she gonna go black by default. So you're not really contributing. She already likely got Tyrone and Tyrese and whoever else. Pass her by. Get the ones that they want. You breaking their spirits. The same thing they did to us. It's coming full circle. Mm-hmm. Our women, our daughters, you did whatever you wanted to do. To the ones that you wanted to do it with. What's the difference? Fair exchange ain't no robbery. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. They'll still be the word white will still be in vocabulary, so don't worry. It ain't like white people be just completely eradicated from the planet. Just won't be any pure. And that's it. That's it. And Chuck said it. Fear of a black planet. That's what it boils down to. Chuck D said it. That's Public Enemy's second album?
I believe it is. Second album. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I tell anybody, I'm not a racist. I love everybody, but I am not going to be blind. I am a realist. I'm not going to be blind. I'm not going to, I can't turn a blind eye. I can't. I got a son. You know what I'm saying? I have a son who needs to know this stuff. My daughter too. My kids.
We're all racist, sir. We are all racist. Make no mistake. There's no I see no color.
Stop.
Because,
oh my God.
Because you are racist does not connotate hate. It does not mean that you hate.
No, the only reason why I said that is because I want to say about a month, maybe 2 months ago, I said the exact same thing on the podcast. I said, and when I say I'm not a racist, I mean, like you just said, I don't try to spew hate. But I said on the podcast, it's got to be about 2, maybe 3 months ago, where I said that everybody is got some form of racism or prejudice in them. Everybody. And I said exactly what you said. I don't believe that. I don't see no color nonsense. That's why I had that reaction. That's why. I mean,
if you see color, then you're a racist. If you are, for Becky, Becky, I'm not a racist. I don't see color. I treat everybody the same. Okay, Becky, and until you walk up in that room, in that waiting room for whatever interview or at the hospital, whatever, or wherever you are, and it's nothing. A sea of black. You the only white face up in there. You feel slightly uncomfortable now, don't you?
That's that record scratch. That's that record scratch moment.
So, it is just as a black person moving out to the suburbs and all your neighbors is Caucasian and they're looking at you a little funny. Yeah, you recognize that you feel uncomfortable. You may not feel afraid or anything like that, but you feel uncomfortable. Why? Because you recognize that they're recognizing your race. And so, although you have the monetary means to live out there by them, they clearly are not going to treat you like their neighbor. So you don't have to. Racism does not necessarily manifest itself in hate. You can take it and manifest your racism in hate, or you can manifest it different ways. My racism manifests itself in the fact that I recognize and acknowledge that the man of color, people of color, were the original people. So everything came from us. So yes, we are superior.
Truth.
And that's it. If everything that you learn from us or some amalgamation of us, then we're the teacher, you're the student. Show me a world where the student is superior to the teacher. In most cases, it just doesn't exist.
Truth.
That's it.
Uh,
And even now, they depend on us so much to provide for them. Remove us. I love it when Caucasians getting it. You don't like our country, leave our country. Your country, huh? Irishman, huh? You Russian, you Czechoslovakian, you whoever you are, but you damn sure are not indigenous to North America. So what boat you catching?
facts.
What
Exactly.
plane you catching when you going home?
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's my take on it.
Everybody in this country, except for the Native Americans, in bold print. Thus again, Native Americans. They're the only ones who were here first. So everybody is a foreign. That's a
Native Indians.
huh?
Native Indians or indigenous people. Native Americans do not like to be referred to as Native Americans.
Or what did you call it? What'd you say it was?
Native Indians,
Okay.
Indians, or indigenous.
Okay.
America wasn't America until some Europeans.
Okay. Right. Until some
determined it
European
was
gave it that
America.
name. Got you. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Makes
So.
perfect sense.
Yep. There you go.
Well, brother.
And like Forrest said, that's all I got to say about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, brother, this has been fun. You know, I'm gonna send it to you. This ain't gonna take long to send to you, because when I do talking ish episodes, ain't no music in the background, no nothing, just straight talk. So this will be quick. So hey man, till next time, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, with football season's around the corner.
I can't wait.
Oh, you and me both. So until next time, I will holler at you later.
Okay, take care.
All right, bro.
Later.
Didn't I tell y'all that sometimes the talking ish episode could be better than the actual Sports Plus Life episode? This one damn sure is longer, over an hour long. But yo, you know what? Sometimes things just need to be said, man. And, you know, I love everybody. I do. I love everybody, you know. I mean, people who know me know that I am a goofball. Honestly, they know I'm a goofball, and they know that I ain't about no trouble. But again, like I told my man Tony, I just can't turn a blind eye to the stuff that's happening out here, man. And the stuff that's been happening. And it's like, I'm glad he agreed with me when I said protecting black people ain't a priority. And then he turns around and educates me on some things in regards to, you know, me saying the, you know, work or die, you know. So, oh my goodness, man. Let me get this out in the atmosphere. Let me get this out to the world. It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. See y'all next week at Sports Plus Life. Peace.